Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. We want to get straight to one of our top stories at this hour, the high fire danger here across the inland northwest. Right now there is a red flag warning in place, so we're turning straight to meteorologist Thomas Patrick. And Thomas, with the wind picking up, what do we know about what that's going to mean for the fire danger here?
Yeah, and I've been going back and forth between our indoor weather center and the outdoor weather center, and it has been getting quite gusty outside as well. So with the winds picking up, that does mean that the fire danger is increasing, especially for fires that are active as of this hour. Wind gusts getting up to that 35-mile-per-hour range as of the 5 o'clock hour now. And we've also been tracking a chance for some dry lightning strikes, particularly in far northern Washington. That also exists until 8 o'clock. But all this means, with the red flag warning, that this is ideal for wildfire growth, which is why yesterday was such an important day for the firefighters to try to attack some of those fires in the region, because those conditions yesterday were much, much calmer. In terms of those lightning strikes, you saw a little bit over the Okanagan Valley, Okanagan County earlier this afternoon, but most of these showers have moved well north of the Canadian border. That is good news, because it's those lightning strikes that could spark new fires in the region. As for the highs today, once again in the 90s, that now makes for the 14th straight day in Spokane that we've hit 90 degrees or more. And of course, last week it was a lot hotter. The record is 15 days, so I'm tracking if we are going to hit one more record as this heat wave still continues across the inland northwest.
Right, Thomas, thank you very much. Now to some breaking news. The death toll from the recent heat wave continues to rise. Since July 1st, the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office has identified 17 heat wave related deaths in Spokane County. To put this into perspective, between 2015 and 2020, Spokane County had only 13 deaths in total due to heat exposure. The deaths identified today range in age from 26 to 84. 8 were women, 9 were men. Most were found alone in houses or apartments without air conditioning, and some were found in buildings where other people were also suffering from heat-related illnesses. The ME's office said many of the people who died did have underlying health conditions.
Also today, the medical examiner named 2 of those heat-related death victims, 65-year-old Rhonda Troop and 45-year-old Nadine Hager. Troop's cause of death was environmental heat exposure, while the other woman died. It was also a confirmed case of hyperthermia, which is when the body gets too warm and simply cannot cool itself. The county's chief medical examiner said the number of heat-related deaths will also likely continue to climb once all hospital deaths are examined. So with the red flag warning, we are continuing to track wildfires burning across the inland northwest. We begin in Idaho, where crews are now working to put out another fire burning near Cataldo Mission. This one is being called the Mission Flats Fire. And according to the Idaho Department of Lands, it's burned about 20 acres along I-90. The mission is not immediately threatened, and no other structures are threatened either.
Meantime, in Whitman County, crews are working to contain the Wilma fire near Clarkson. That fire is estimated to be at 70 acres in size and growing. It's currently burning in grass and brush. It's threatening rangeland, cropland, and Bonneville Power Administration transmission lines. No evacuations are in effect at this time. The cause of that fire is still under investigation tonight. Also near Clarkson, a 300-acre complex fire is threatening homes and rangeland in Asotin County. It's being called the Asotin Complex Fire. According to the State Fire Marshal's office, the fire is continuing to grow and is burning in vegetation. No evacuations in place. Air Resources are working to put that fire out.
All evacuation orders have been lifted for the Webb fire in Stevens County. That was 25 to 30 acres, threatening homes at one point in Stevens County. DNR still on scene today, mopping up. And according to the fire district number 1 there, the cause of the fire remains under investigation, but is also being considered suspicious. The sheriff's office is now asking anyone with information to please call them. They've got that number right there at the bottom of your screen.
All level 3 evacuations have been lifted for the Andrus fire burning in the West Plains near Cheney. Level 2 evacuations have been downgraded to level 1. At last check, the fire is burning about 225 acres and is now 20% contained. The Red Cross shelter at Medical Lake High School has been shut down due to lack of use. However, for anyone who still needs shelter, the Red Cross is willing to open on a case-by-case basis, they said. As of this morning, there have been no structures lost or any injuries reported.
And a much larger fire is still burning in central Washington. Overnight, the Batterman Road fire grew to over 14,000 acres. It's burning in East Wenatchee and grew by about 6,500 acres just since yesterday morning. Officials said about 80 structures there are threatened, but so far we have not heard of any actual loss of structures. There are level 3 evacuations in place for nearby communities, and the cause remains under investigation. evacuation.
Today in Brown's Edition, a fire forced several people to leave their apartment when that fire broke out at around 1 o'clock this afternoon. It was in the building next door to the Elk. The building suffered extensive damage, as you can see right there. There was no damage to the Elk. The Red Cross has been brought in to help. Right now, we don't know the cause of that fire.
So if you would like more information on any of these wildfires or the evacuation orders across the inland Northwest, we can send you a link right to your phone. All you have to do is text the word FIRE to 509-448-2000. You can also download the KREM 2 mobile app and check KREM.com.
In other news tonight, this man fled from police this morning in Spokane Valley. That's according to officers. It happened near East Mission Avenue and North Flora Road. Deputies say he should be considered armed and dangerous.
So one man said he saw the suspect in his backyard and talked to him before he fled. Our own Ian Smay is live now with the latest on that. Ian?
Yeah, Mark and Whitney, I'm here just off of Mission and Flora in Spokane Valley. The suspect is 28-year-old Julian Hernandez, who police say is wanted for a felony in Idaho. Now, Hernandez fled from police during a wellness check this morning, and a Spokane Valley man ended up having a close encounter with Hernandez in his own backyard. Tyler Farrell was in for a surprise this morning. He was with his grandma in their Spokane Valley home when a man police say may be armed and dangerous entered their backyard.
So he came through the metal fence right there where it was unhooked, and then walked around to the back right or left corner, was talking to us, telling us not to call the cops and stuff, asking to borrow cell phones.
That suspect is 28-year-old Julian Hernandez. Spokane County Sheriff's Corporal Mark Gregory said Hernandez is wanted for a felony in Idaho. Spokane Valley deputies contacted Hernandez in his vehicle for a wellness check. Gregory says Hernandez then fled, leading to a short pursuit that police had to abandon due to traffic in the area. At one point, Gregory says Hernandez fled on foot. Then, at about 10:30, he ended up in Farrell's backyard.
So I was standing in that back right corner right there, and then my grandmother was standing right here up at the front. He came running through. I walked over by her, and then he went straight to that left corner and was standing back there trying to catch his breath from running.
Farrell says they originally thought Hernandez was a lawn care worker coming to spray the yard. When he asked Hernandez what he was doing, Farrell says Hernandez started acting nervous.
And then he got all like shaky and stuff and tried pulling up his pants. So we told him to leave, and then he wouldn't leave. Then he asked us to borrow his cell phone, and he was like, just don't call the cops, don't call the cops. And so we obviously didn't, because we weren't going to push the situation.
After refusing to give him their cell phones, Farrell says Hernandez climbed the back fence and ran. Luckily, it was a peaceful end to a potentially dangerous situation.
I mean, like I said, at first I wasn't too stressed about it because I just thought it was one of those guys. And then the longer he stood there and the more like shaky and worried he got, the more like anxious and like nervous I was about the situation.
Police say Hernandez was last seen in a blue or dark blue t-shirt and jeans. He is described as being bald with tattoos on his face and arms. Gregory says Hernandez stands at about 5'7" tall and weighs approximately 250 pounds. Now, police say Hernandez is considered to be potentially armed and dangerous because he does have a history of being armed, and ammunition was found in his vehicle. Gregory says this isn't an active scene anymore, but police are keeping an eye out for Hernandez, and if anyone sees him, they're asked to call 911 immediately. Reporting in Spokane Valley, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
All right, Ian, thank you very much. Still ahead tonight, Tropical Storm Elsa has made landfall along Florida's Gulf Coast. Coming up after the break, we'll bring you the very latest updates on the damage there.